Your fearful avoidant ex needs help. They are paralyzed by fear that is keeping them from having a loving relationship. They need someone that they feel safe talking to, who will always be there for them. But they need someone who doesn't require too much emotional work from their side. Awesome. Tell them to hire a therapist on their way to adopt a cat. Because unless they are willing to admit to their part in the breakup and commit to getting help, it's not healthy to allow your ex or anybody to use you as a resource for hits of validation in perpetuity. Avoidants are adults. They have the right to seek out their basic needs being met. But there seems to be a confusion in the messages that you listen to online and even the messages you're getting from your own brain, telling you that you have to be the person that supplies the avoidant with all of these things. This is a lie. You are also an adult. You have plenty of your own problems that need your attention. Hello, friends. My name is Maria, and there seems to be this big, fat, hypocritical oath floating around the world of anxious and avoidant dynamics that says, first, do no harm to any avoidant ever. They had it rough growing up, and they certainly do not deserve to be criticized or called out for the kind of behavior that continues to traumatize everyone around them who has the nerve to love them. You must remember, you are not their father, their mother, or their maker. There is no natural law that states you are obligated to give them an endless supply of love and attention when all they're doling out in return is an intermittent punch to the gut. So if you're ready to explore the world's largest hypocrisy when it comes to anxious and avoidant breakups, then grab that bottle of nail polish and let's talk. One of the biggest lies in the YouTube talking head world is that you are the person who is meant to supply your avoidant with every single thing they need, but with no expectations. And maybe this is just me, but I feel like I had a better time going on the first few dates, meeting new people when I had no expectations. However, it wasn't until I finally had expectations in my established relationships that I stopped getting that anxious feeling that the rug could be pulled out from underneath me at any time, because I could feel deep down in my gut that the other person wasn't investing anything, not nearly to the degree that I was. And make no mistake, whether you're still in a relationship with an avoidant or you're coming out of a breakup, you guys have a history together. You have an established relationship. Pretending that you have no expectations just because this person is your ex and they still kind of want to hang out sometimes, or they still answer your texts every once in a while. You're just setting yourself up to get strung along. And I argue that if you continue to do loving things and be there for your avoidant ex 6 months, a year after the breakup, and suddenly they tell you that they're now dating someone else, well, in that one crushing blow, you're gonna find out real quick that telling yourself that you were okay giving of yourself with no expectations, that was a really convenient lie that you were telling yourself to justify sticking around after the breakup. And please do not misunderstand me. Your avoidant ex is an adult who is fully aware of your feelings. It is impossible, especially for people like us, to play it cool when we're around people who we are in love with. And any ex who knows this and is still okay with exploiting all of your little acts of kindness until they decide that they are done, well, they are not someone who understands what it means to have compassion. Don't let your anxiety or any of the talking heads of YouTube try to convince you of what your ex is entitled to, of what they deserve. Because the only thing they deserve in their life is what they're working for. And what are they working for? Do their actions show that they are working really hard to nourish and cherish loving relationships? Or do they work really hard to maintain shallow relationships while pushing people who genuinely care for them away because they just want to be left alone? Caveat: want to be left alone while still knowing that you are there waiting in the wings, right? Some of the biggest hypocrites in the world of anxious and avoidant dynamics are the very same people who claim they are trying to help you with your relationship. They're trying to help you get your ex back. They have a platform. They want you to listen to them, but it doesn't seem like they're even listening to anyone in their own comments section. Viewers get ignored or they get canned responses because goodness knows, even though you're giving them your attention, well, they can't be bothered to reciprocate. They're a little too busy. Does that remind you of anyone else in your life? Plus, if they were listening to their viewers, they would hear the comments about what it's actually like to deal with hot and cold, breadcrumbing, avoidant people when it comes to the real world. I'd like to share 2 comments from viewers on this channel who will tell you exactly what it's like to be in a real relationship, a real hypocritical, one-sided relationship. Wandering Rogue 3039 says, my avoidant never wanted to commit, but they were always terrified of me committing to someone else. Eileen Dumb 5858 says, he wanted me to open up, but wouldn't open up to me. Would get wounded at criticism, but criticized everything about me. My cooking wasn't good enough. My cleaning wasn't good enough. Things I would say were a turnoff. If I gave space, I was up to something. That happened to me too. But if I wanted more quality time, I was smothering. If I spoke to him about my feelings, it was overwhelming. But if I spoke to a trusted girlfriend instead, I was not trustworthy. Now, he didn't want you talking to anyone else about him because he was well aware that how he was acting was wrong and he knew it didn't look good. Eileen continues, if he took space and I gave space, I'm the one that gave up on the relationship. But if I chased, I was smothering. I couldn't express my feelings and I have kept them to myself. It's sad. It's like a silent defeat. You are made to believe you are constantly failing a standard that the other person is wholly incapable of meeting themselves. They're trying to keep you emotionally destabilized. That way you can't see that they're not even living up to their own standard because you're feeling more and more inadequate and insecure within yourself. So what's the answer? Well, I have a lot of people that call me for encouragement, and one of the big questions is, what do I do if my ex reaches out? And please know that these are good people who are emotionally unraveling because a fearful avoidant ex keeps jerking them around and emotionally bullying them with no remorse. Sometimes in life, we get so mentally beat down that we can forget we have all of the power inside of us to change what's going on in our life. It's not up to our ex anymore, and it is 100% perfectly okay for you to ignore them. The solution is so simple, but why is it so hard for us to ignore our exes? They do it to you all the time. They decide when to ignore you and when to answer you back. What happened that made you feel like you always have to be there for them? And hey, if you've watched my videos, you'll know I'm the first person to say, don't stay with anyone who decides when it's okay to ignore you, because you exist all the time. So obviously, I'm not a super huge fan of ignoring people. But life ruiners do not get the courtesy of an automatic text back just because for some random validation-seeking reason on that particular day, they decided to reach out. And I stand by the term life ruiners, because all it takes is one traumatic discard from an avoidant who continues to breadcrumb you to destroy your mental health, wreak havoc on your performance at work, and cause you the kind of stress that can make you look years older than your time. Well, welcome to the other half, where we know attraction is not just about looks. We also need to take care of the inner half. Because I don't know about you, but I never want to go through another time in my life where I was so stressed out by emotional breadcrumbers treating me like crap that people who met me thought I was a decade and a half older than I actually am. Not only that, but it took me almost 2 years of hard work on the inside and on the outside to get my looks, my smile, my joy back. This is the kind of devastation that trauma is capable of. These next two comments I love. When I ask viewers if they had ever been in a hypocritical, one-sided relationship, channel member Mooney787 says, yep. And longtime viewer Hi5293 says, just one resounding word, yep. I love these answers because you can tell how far they have come from their breakup. There is no more gaslighting or unearned guilt or fuzzy confusion. It's as simple as asking you if you've ever tried macaroni and cheese. Yep. Hey, have you ever been in a relationship with a toxic jerk who didn't deserve you? Yep. And if you're watching this video today and you are not yet in this confident, healed place, it's okay. You will get there. I mean, you saw this thumbnail and you clicked on it. Something in your spirit knows that the hypocrisy in your relationship dynamic feels unfair. It feels wrong. And it is a bit of an uncomfortable truth, knowing that deep down, the answer lies with you having the strength to hit the ignore button the next time an emotional breadcrumber pings you. But don't take my word for it. Take it from Unfiltered Truths 3338, who says, I am now 3 months into no contact and healing while moving on with my life. Free from the one-sidedness and the lies. Never again will I waste time like that. Hell yeah. And I would like to add that I do remember this viewer from a couple of videos ago, and I remember him saying that the only thing that did free him from his toxic 2.5-year situationship was truly, finally going completely no contact. He had to totally detox from the BS. I know it's hard for someone like you to do something that you feel is mean, but your ex is the one who's being mean and selfish. Please don't continue to buy into this avoidant person's hypocritical oath that states that you have to feel guilty if you're not always there for them, while at the same time they allow themselves to pick and choose when they get to ignore you. If you believe that you can't feel any lower than you do right now, then you've got nothing to lose. Try some new boundaries. It's going to feel weird at first, and maybe you might be scared that it's going to make you appear cold or downright prickly. And no, you're not going to appear as attractive to someone whose only goal is to use you. But for the right person, a healthy, secure person who appreciates someone with boundaries, they're not going to mind your prickles. In fact, they'll be thinking, you're looking pretty fly for a cacti. And if you want to know why we have such a hard time ignoring life ruiners, I'll put that video right here. My name is Maria Adriana. You did not have to live my life, but I certainly hope you can learn something from it. As always, thank you for visiting the other half.